Hey there, folks. It's Javier Block 208 coming to you live with a political announcement. I think after a lot of observing and thinking about everything that's going on in politics, I think I've made a very intense decision on my endorsement. And I'm going to start by saying that my point is to not change anybody's views. Whether you're for Kamala Harris or whether you're for Donald Trump, I'm not trying to change your views. I want you to vote the way you plan to vote. If you plan to vote for Kamala Harris, I want you to do that. Just do it. Go vote for Kamala Harris if that's what you plan to do. If it's in your heart to vote for Kamala Harris, or you plan to vote for Kamala Harris, or you've decided or leaning on voting for Kamala Harris, then go vote for Kamala Harris. If you plan to vote for Donald Trump, if you've decided to vote for Donald Trump, if your heart is leaning on voting for Donald Trump, then go vote for Donald Trump. The way I see it is either way, it's just not a big deal. This election, in my conclusion, currently, is kind of a win-win, honestly. So, let me explain. The way I see it is, it's a win-win and a lose-lose either way this goes. If Kamala Harris wins, we are going to have our first woman of color president. Now that's going to be amazing. That's going to be historic. Now bear in mind that today is August the 12th of 2024. Harris has been holding massive rallies. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona. She's crushing it. She is well on her way to victory. But really, for what? Here's the truth. She's a very powerful speaker. Her new running mate, Tim Walz, is a very powerful speaker. Very powerful speaker. I've been listening to their rallies. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are very, very, very powerful and passionate speakers. They're really exciting the crowd, getting the crowd going, getting the crowd moving. Tens of thousands of people are showing up at their rallies. This whole Kamala Harris plane Photoshop thing was actually debunked. It was false. She's getting 10,000 plus people at her rallies, sometimes way more. As a matter of fact, give me a second. Kamala Harris had 15,000 people at her Detroit rally, over 10,000 people at her Philadelphia rally, over 10,000 people at her Wisconsin rally, over 10,000 people at her Georgia rally, and I think that close in Arizona too. And I think that these numbers were higher actually. 15,000 people, 10,000 people, perhaps close to 20,000 people. I don't know. But the point is that she is really, really, really on the move. And the polls have turned around. That's the reality. Her and Tim Walz are making a surprisingly, because I didn't know much about Tim Walz before. I thought of him as a very liberal governor of Minnesota that I did not even support back in the race, back in the governor's race in 2022. I did not support Tim. I was hoping Tim Walz would lose to Republican candidate Scott Jensen, Dr. Scott Jensen. I thought he was a very good candidate, but Tim Walz won by double digits. He won big. And Tim Walz, I just thought of him as a liberal governor of Minnesota. And he is very liberal. but he's also energetic, passionate, well-spoken, and just bold. And so is Kamala Harris, and when she's calling out Donald Trump directly in her rallies, calling him out on its disrespect to her, calling him out on the way he talks about her and other women and everything. She is standing up to him, and it is a really, really, really powerful thing to see. That's amazing, in my opinion. So back to what I was saying earlier. This election is going to be a win-win, lose-lose either way. Kamala Harris becomes the first woman president, first woman of color president, first woman president in history of the United States. Defeats a guy who is very misogynistic, apparently, who's very misogynistic. And it would be a powerful, powerful, powerful victory. That being said, the facts about Kamala Harris, and I've stated this in my video, why I cannot endorse Kamala Harris yet, is I've yet to hear policy. I've yet to hear what she plans to do. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has stated what he plans to do. And we're going to talk about Donald Trump in a minute. I've yet to hear what Kamala Harris plans to do the next 4 years. I've yet to hear her policies for the poor and middle class, for poor American families, for working people, for poor families, for the poor and underclass Americans. What are her plans like? What are her policies like? How will she fight for civil rights? How will she fight for the LGBT community? How will she fight for, comprehensive immigration reform? How will she fight for, programs and food stamps and necessary welfare and things that people need? Disability, Social Security, food stamps, for people that need it. All the stuff that Republicans want to cut. Republicans are no friends to civil rights. That's just established. They're no friends to civil rights. The Republican Party does not care about LGBT rights. Yet, for some reason, Trump has a lot of gay supporters. The Republican Party does not care about food stamps or food stamp programs or, welfare programs to help people or disability or really even Social Security or, and tons of policies that help millions of poor and middle class Americans in this country. The Republican Party doesn't care about that. No, they don't. Now, the Republican Party is not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a different guy. The Republican Party sucks. That's the truth. Look at them in Alabama, Mississippi, West Virginia, Tennessee, and all these other states, Missouri. They don't give a damn about the poor. They just don't. They don't. They're all about businesses and money and this and that, and that's why rich people love to support them. The Democratic policies, per se, with the exception of abortion, because I don't agree with that, are just way the hell better. Now, the Democratic policies, but I want to hear what Kamala Harris's plans are. I want to hear what Kamala Harris is going to have to say about everything. I don't really think Kamala Harris... I don't know. I don't want to speak too much because I don't know. I haven't heard what she wants to say yet. I'm waiting for the debate. I'm waiting for her to debate Donald Trump. I'm waiting for her convention speech. I'm waiting to hear what her plans are for the next 4 years. We're going to talk about Donald Trump now, and this video is going kind of long. I'm going to be very real with you guys. There is a lot that I like about Donald Trump, but I'm also going to talk about some other things too. Now, Democrats will like to fearmonger about Project 25 and blah, blah, blah. It's like at this point, all this stuff about Project 2025 is just left-wing fear-mongering, in my opinion. And there's so much right-wing fear-mongering, it's not even funny, but it's kind of sad to see Democrats playing by the same game. I'm going to read to you guys now. Sorry, I'm chewing on a mint. I'm going to read to you now what Trump's plan is for the next 4 years. And he's made it clear, and the reality is Kamala Harris has not. And I'm going to tell you what I agree with and what I disagree with. Okay, number one. President Trump's top 20 core promises to make America great again. Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. No. There is no. The thing about this is one of the right wingers' top fear-mongering campaign stuff about an invasion. My dad's at the border. My dad was just visiting the border right now. There's no invasion happening. Yes, it's true there are people coming in across the border. And when Trump was speaking about this in his rally, he was very funny, honestly. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from not just South and Central America. That's the least of these. I gotta play that for you guys.
Kamala was appointed border czar in March of 2021. Millions and millions of illegal aliens have stormed across our borders. You know that. And they're coming not just from South America. That's the least of it. They're coming from Africa. You know, we had people coming in from parts of Africa. The Congo, 22 people from the Congo a couple of months ago. Where do you live? The Congo. Oh, what's your address? We lived in prison. What did you do? We refused to say. Oh, welcome to America. It's lovely to have you. They come from Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming from all over, not just South America. They're coming from prisons and jails, mental institutions and insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at levels that we've never seen before. You know, I had the safest...
This dude is absolutely delusional. But honestly, guys, it's freaking funny. It's freaking funny that he's saying that. But not just funny, it's sad. It's funny that hearing him say that is just freaking funny. But at the same time, it's sad that so many of his supporters actually believe this. They're coming from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East, from South America, from Mexico, from all over the world, like we're under a total invasion of proportions of fantasy imagination, so to speak. It's all in his head. But the reality, and I've expressed this before, is that his supporters are mostly white, and they're afraid of this, and they're going to buy into this fear, and they believe it. They believe it. It's fear-mongering. It's nothing but pure fear-mongering. Now, me hearing this, and educated people, if you're watching this, like me and you, hearing this, we're laughing at this. This is hilarious. But the sad part is, many people are taking this very seriously, because they actually believe that we're literally being invaded from all sides. Invasion of the imagination. All these people coming across from all over the world to invade America, storming across our border, because Kamala Harris, the border czar, let them in. It's preposterously stupid. That being said, we do need border security, and just protect our border. That's it. We need to protect our border, and I think Biden has made a very strong attempt to do that. I really do. So we also need a balance in immigration. We need comprehensive immigration reform. So seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, number one. I'm sorry, this video may go on for a while. Number two, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. His supporters love that. To me, that's just unchristian. Imagine rounding up millions of people who are just here undocumented, trying to find a better life for their family, trying to build better lives for themselves, trying to find work in this country, working on the farms in California, or working on the farms in California, and under the table jobs here, and just trying to build a life for themselves. Round them up and deport them. I don't agree with that, especially if they're harmless and they are actually helping, society. I think we should try to give them a pathway to citizenship. That's my view, and my view aligns very much with the Democrats on that. because it's the right thing to do and the Christian thing to do, and I stand by that. But so much fear mongering, like I said, it's a white base that is naturally afraid of this stuff, and it's sad. It's sad if you're in a white, very uneducated base, listening to this and actually believing it. Number 3. Now we're going to get to some things I agree with. End inflation and make America affordable again. Like it. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. That's good. I support that. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. I got no problem with that. That sounds like a good plan. Large tax cut for workers and no tax on tips. Who doesn't love that? That's actually a good idea. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our fundamental freedoms, including a freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms. I support that. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree if religion, likes to. I'm not in agreement if religion gives you the license to discriminate against a gay person or against a gay couple. I don't agree with that. I think everyone's right. I think people's rights should be protected. And religious liberty and religious freedom, it's something our country was built on. We need to fight for that. But when they try to use this as like an excuse to discriminate against people, that's a line crossed. I don't agree with that. But besides that, it's a good deal here. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our fundamental freedoms, including our freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and right to bear arms. Let's talk about freedom of speech. Okay, freedom of speech, good thing. Our country was built on it. It's a constitutional thing. Now, let's say, I was boarding a flight to Phoenix. I was boarding a flight to Phoenix out of Denver earlier this month on Southwest Airlines, irrelevant. And some kid in front of me was talking to an older man. These were both white people. No offense to anybody who's watching this, not being, but he was talking to this older man. And he was just like, oh, we used to be able to say things before, and now we can't say them anymore because it might offend people and blah, blah, blah. Well, you have the right to say anything you want. That's the reality. The reality is that I do think that hate speech should be really shamed. Hate speech, using the F word, using racial slurs or anti-gay slurs or any of that. I think it should, not illegal. You have freedom of speech. I think it should be shamed. I think racial slurs and anti-gay slurs and all that stuff, and hate speech in general, I do think it should be shamed. Not banned, because we have freedom of speech in this country. But I don't think it should be appropriate to say then that you shouldn't feel like, oh, because society is becoming a more accepting place, if you will, that, oh, it's now okay that oh no, we're now being oppressed because we can't say all the hateful things we used to say. And that's called a change. That's called a society that's moving in the right direction, at least in that regard. That's why the N-word is shamed these days. That's why hopefully anti-gay slogans will be shamed too. I hope we continue to move in a better direction. So the hate speech is shamed. It's just not right. I don't support that now. At the same time, I don't support banning it because we do live in a constitutional society which guarantees the right to freedom of speech. And yes, we should protect freedom of speech at all costs and fight to the death your constitutional right to say whatever you want. That's fair. So Constitution, Bill of Rights, fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, religion, the right to bear arms. Okay, now right to bear arms, again, we do need common sense gun safety legislation. Nobody needs an AR-15. I stand by that. Nobody needs one. The only thing AR-15s are used for in the present day are for mass shootings. As far as I know. As far as I've seen. So again, it's just the Republicans' obsession with guns and, like to play persecution complex and lots of things. And claim that Christianity is being persecuted and all that, which is just not true. It is true in other countries, not so much in this country. Just because you don't have a license to discriminate anymore doesn't mean you're being persecuted. You're not. Sorry. Anyways, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over the entire country, all made in America. Hey, if you can do that, by all means. You want to build a great Iron Dome and a missile defense in our country? Have at it. I'd like to see you do it. Do it. I want to see you do it. Good luck getting that done. What is your plan? Build a big old dome for our country to protect our country? Hey, is this something out of Trump's delusion? Or is this realistic? Is this reality? Is this realistic? Or is this delusional thinking? To me, it sounds like delusional thinking, but if he can get it done, more power to him. I would love to see that. That would be pretty darn cool. Build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country. Do it, Trump. I want to see that happen. I want to see you do that. This is more delusional than the wall. But if you can do it, by all means. Prevent World War III. Restore peace in Europe and the Middle East. Well, it'd be nice to see peace restored in some ways. There's a lot of things that say that's like biblical prophecy. It's like, the Antichrist is going to pretend to bring peace and all that. So, I don't know. We'll see. Not a bad idea, but World War III, how's World War III even about to start? Are you saying if Kamala Harris wins, there's going to be World War III? It's kind of delusional, but yeah, his heart's in the right place. His heart's in the right place. Okay. End the weaponization of government against the American people. What the hell does he mean by this? What does the weaponization of government against the American people mean? Is he talking about places being persecuted because they are, protecting people's rights or something like that? Protecting people's rights to exist and pretending like, Christianity is being persecuted and all that because they can't discriminate against people anymore? Is that what he means? Or is he talking about like censorship online against in misinformation, which the Republican Party is king at? There's lots of misinformation in the Republican Party. There's lots of lies, especially since Donald Trump. So many lies. Is that what he's talking about? Because I think that, it's just, we need to be very real. And what is he talking about? What in particular does the American people feel like the government is being weaponized against them? Well, we can talk about the pandemic too. Forcing everybody to wear masks and forcing everybody to get jabs, which I did not agree with. Is that so I guess at a certain aspect, if they decide to declare a national emergency, and then the government can be used to be weaponized against the American people, that makes sense. Tyranny is the line drawer for me. I don't agree with tyranny. I don't know, and I think that the way everything was, this whole dress rehearsal with the pandemic and forced masking and forced vaccine and vaccine passports, it seemed to me like a dress rehearsal for something that could be coming in the future. Now, call me conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that. So that could be another example of weaponization of government against the American people. But what does he really mean by that? Because there's a lot of BS examples too. A lot of so-called censorship of fake news and maybe the right to discriminate against people and all that. And there's a lot of BS examples. And it's just like, you got to just cut down the line and say, what does he mean by that? Oh, back to immigration. Yay. Stop the migrant crime epidemic. Demolish the foreign drug cartels. Crush gang violence and lock up violent offenders. Okay. Hey. What is the migrant crime epidemic? A very, very, very tiny little thing going on maybe every once in a while. Yeah, I will say this. If illegals commit crimes, they should be deported. All right? They commit crimes, especially if they hurt people or, God forbid, kill people or whatever, or drug cartels or whatever, yeah, they should be deported. That's fair. They're not doing right. They're doing wrong. They should be deported. But there really isn't much crime epidemic gain. But at the end of the day, most of the drug cartels, they're in Mexico or other countries. Yeah, they should be stopped. If you can find a way to stop them, more power to them. But I think this whole migrant crime epidemic is just, for the most part, a lot of fear mongering. Oh, Lord have mercy. We're in 25 minutes and oh God, this video might go on an hour. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. I'm not against that. Let's do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, he's probably going to take credit for it because he's a very prideful man. He wants all credit for himself. He wants all credit for the horrible Republican Party. He wants to take all the credit. Okay. Strength. Okay, so build all cities, make them safe, beautiful again. Per se, that is a very good idea. I like that idea. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world. As long as he doesn't bring the draft back, because I do not want to join the military. I don't want to do that. But if he can do that, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Most powerful in the world, What's his plan to do that? I don't know. But is there a lot of complaining about woke in the military? It's like, at the end of the day, so-called wokeness in the military. Republicans like to complain about that. And I don't really know. I mean, I have no problem with trans people in the military. As long as they're not like demanding their surgeries paid for or transition surgeries paid for or whatever. I have no problem with trans people serving. Any trans person that served, God bless you. You served our country. Any gay person that served, God bless you. You served our country. No issue with that. This complaint about wokeness in the military is all BS. That being said, I don't think that military should be paying for transgender transition surgeries, so to speak. That I don't agree with. Okay, keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. Hey, more power to it. No issue with that at all. Keep the dollar. No digital currency. No cryptocurrency. None of that. We don't want any of that. We want to keep the US dollar. Period. That's a direct shot to the world elite. That's a direct shot to Klaus Schwab. Keep the US dollar as the world currency and stop trying to digitalize everything. I'm 100% for that. Keep the US dollar as world currency. Next. Completely agree with that. Fight for and protect Social Security. Okay, that's nice. And Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Hey, I'm surprised he said that. That's a good idea. I'm actually very surprised he said that. Because Republicans, for the most part, have been all against this. Republicans suck. They're horrible. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Hey, totally for that. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly, burdensome regulation. No, not at all. I don't agree with that at all. No, I think that we should be moving in a direction of, alternative energy, whether it's electric vehicles or hybrids or wind energy. And I know Trump hates wind energy. He creates conspiracies about that, but I think alternative energy to fossil fuel is a very important thing. Trump, at his convention speech, was like, drill, baby, drill. And then all those people were chanting, Bill, drill, baby, drill. No, I don't agree with that at all. I think that we should be moving away from oil and fossil fuel. I really do think so. But, he likes to, we're America, we're going to be the fuel producer of the world or whatever, and Texas or whatever the hell, No, we need to move to alternative energy. There's nothing wrong with that. I was in San Francisco. I saw they run almost entirely on green energy, and that's pretty good. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, or any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content in our children. Oh, Lord have mercy, this again. Okay, let's be very real here. Gay people exist. Period. They have a history. They have a history in this country. They've done great things in this country. I think that should be taught in schools. I am very, very serious about it. I do believe that should be taught in schools. Now, I don't agree with pushing sexual ideology and all that. I'm against that. But when they want to remove curriculum that teaches the history of this country, how literally LGBT people just like racial people and all that, they're all part of this country. They all have a history of this country, and they should all be, seen, so to speak. Not censored, not banned, not have books banned, not any of that. Just that they should be seen, is the fact that they exist, they have always existed, and they will reduce prejudice in the future, and reduce, things like homophobia in the future, and anti-gay bullying, and disowning, gay family members or whatever, family members, friends, or whatever. I think that a lot needs to change to make this world a better place, and to eliminate like things like homophobia from our society, or racism from our society. It's just like, at the end of the day, everybody has a history in this country, and it should be taught in schools. LGBT people, racial minorities, everybody. And now that at the same time, sexual or political content to our children, inappropriate, gender ideology. I don't know what he means by gender ideology. But, at the end of the day, a lot of that stuff is bad, like sexual content, political content, all that stuff, propaganda and all that. I don't agree with that. No, I think that should be restricted and stuff. I'm also one to believe that evolution should not be taught in public schools, because that is not proven. It is just a theory. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion with my religious belief, with my Christian faith that I have, that I hold, at the end of the day. And then let's talk about radical gender ideology. It's like, transgender people exist? Is that radical gender ideology? Or are we just acknowledging a reality that transgender people exist? I've met trans people who never got a surgery. I have. I've met trans people on more than one occasion who have literally been born one gender and ended up another one. I don't know how it works. God made them that way. And the fact that, people exist is a reality that, should not be denied, so to speak. Keep men out of women's sports. He's referring to trans people. But, that's fair. I do agree with that to an extent, Now, Republicans are very cruel about it, but let's be honest here. If biological women are competing with biological men who transition to women, they're still biological men who are giving the biological woman an unfair advantage. And that is a very fair statement. That being said, this is kind of a slippery slope talking about this, because it can lead to bigotry, at the same time. And that's wrong. Bigotry should always be condemned, spoken out against. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Okay. Pro-Hamas radicals and make our college country safe and patriotic again. You know what? Trump loves to talk about deporting people. That's what I'm getting out of this. He loves to say, if we don't like them, deport them. We don't like them, deport them. I don't even think that's realistic, to be honest. But maybe if they're here illegally, get them out of here. Or are we talking about people who are making their voices heard, who do not agree with people like myself, who are pro-Israel because of my faith? And I do support, whether it's Democrats or Republicans. I mean, we do need to defend our ally in Israel. We do need to stand by that. I 100% support that. And that's because of my faith, but also I know we also recognize that a lot of, time Israel has not done the right thing. They've done war crimes and all that, and hurt a lot of people, and whatever the hell, and Gaza and Palestine and all that. That's a reality. But we do need to defend our ally in Israel, and I stand by that. And I hope that Kamala Harris is on board with that. And I know Trump's going to be on board with that. And I sure as hell know Biden was on board with that. Biden was very pro-Israel, and I always respect him for that. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Yeah, why not? Make elections fair. Keep elections fair. I personally think Democrats are better at that. I do know Republicans disenfranchise voters. But at the same time, I think Democrats are better with elections, in my opinion. But the point is that we need to have fair elections in this country. That's the way democracy works. And if I don't know what Trump's real plan is in securing our elections, it may go back to his conspiracy about how the 2020 election was stolen. But and that's what it is. That's what it is. Unite our country by bringing it to new record levels of success. By bringing it to new record levels of success. Okay. Let's bring record levels of success for our country. Great. Thank God that's over. Now, that being said, at least Trump has a plan. I have not seen a plan for Kamala Harris yet. And it's fair to say. It's fair to say that I have not seen a plan from Kamala Harris yet. I'm going to read to you what I wrote about Donald Trump. We're going to acknowledge the reality that Donald Trump is hilarious, crazy, and insanely stupid. Yet he has a lot of ideas, and his heart's in the right place, and a lot of things. Give me 1 second, because I'm going to wrap this video up very soon. I'm by no means defending the Republican Party, but I might vote. Scratch that. I missed a word. I'm by no means defending the Republican Party, but here's my statement on Donald Trump. He's not that dangerous. He's just crazy, insane, childish, funny, and amazingly stupid. At the same time, I do believe his heart is in the right place in a lot of things. A lot of things, you know? He seems to have a plan. He seems to know what he wants to do. He seems to want to hit the ground running. I do not feel threatened by him. I'm just genuinely curious to see everything he's going to do in his second term. Oh, and Harris and Walz are left-wing, are kind of left-wing radicals, both of them, with no real plan, no real direct plan, at least not as of yet. I'm waiting to hear their policies. If Harris wants my vote, she better lay out her plan for the next 4 years policy-wise. I've yet to hear much. What she's going to do for the poor and middle-class Americans, for our country, for the people in our country. I genuinely want to know. So with that being said, I know I told you guys at the beginning that I was going to, and let's elaborate on the whole Donald Trump is stupid and crazy. He's a nut. He's a nutcase. He screams like a child, cries like a child whenever he doesn't get his way, and he throws temper tantrums and fits and rants and calls Kamala Harris names and all that stuff. To me, that's harmless. That's funny. It's stupid. It's stupidity, but it's funny. This man is a grown child. That's the truth. That is the truth. He's a grown child, incredibly stupid in a lot of ways, but at least he has a plan. At least he has a plan to hit the ground running when he starts. And that's the way that I see it. And as far as I know, I said in the beginning I was going to endorse it. I was going to give an endorsement. I cannot do that right now. I am at the point where you guys have watched for 40 minutes. And the reality of the matter is that the one thing that's holding me up right now is I want to hear what Kamala Harris's plans are. I want to hear what she has to say. I want to hear what her plans are for the poor and middle class and for the people of this country, the working people of this country, the families of this country, the poor families of this country, and plans to help Americans for the next 4 years. I want to hear a plan other than she's a woman of color, well-spoken speaker of celebrity status who's getting crowds of tens of thousands of people. I want to hear what her plan is to help the people of this country, to help the poor and middle class, to help the people who need it, and to make lives better and easier for Americans. I want to hear her plan. And I'm waiting for a convention. I'm waiting for a debate. And that's all I've got to say. If you plan on voting for Kamala Harris, do it. If you plan on voting for Donald Trump, do it. Just do it. Do whatever you want. I'm waiting to hear more. And I'm waiting to hear from her more specifically. And that's the reality of it. This video's gone 40 minutes long, so Thank you all for watching my video. This is Javier Blog 208. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon. I love all of you. Take care.